four of us, to be honest.
Well, Adriana, we always said that whoever is going to be present is the right person or people. So we don't have very high expectation of great numbers, because we know that many have got kids or, you know, demanding jobs. So
I know.
Yeah.
And I think
totally fine from
many
my
people
side.
might be relying on the fact that we post everything later, so they can.
I think so. So they can see it later. Yeah, they can watch it later.
Yeah.
And the good stuff is that it will be recorded. So
yeah,
if people are not here, they can watch it later, and it's fine. That's
absolutely
all good from my side. Oh.
How was it?
That's the soup. Oh my god, good. Adriana, this is my own soup. I've been taking the broccoli kale, the broccoli leaves from the garden, and I've made this stew with the broccoli and potatoes. I am really much, ever since 2 years ago, every summer I've been growing food. Disastrous things happen. I've eaten everything, but now is my third year into growing food, and I know more now.
That's so beautiful. But we were talking about it, Rhianne and I.
Really?
Weren't we, Rhianne? How important it will be to be self-sustainable in this sense, for us to have our own food.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I've been watching about permaculture.
Yes.
Oh, you know that? Oh my god. There was
an art
project. There was an art project in 2019 surrounding permaculture, and they were working with a group of refugees. I think it was in America somewhere, or maybe in Argentina. I can't remember. And that was beautiful. Oh no, it was in New York. With people coming from all over.
Yeah, I have plenty of links that I can share with you later on about permaculture, on people who are doing a lot of nice stuff in this sense. There's even she's a neo-pagan, but she's like a witch, you know, and she has written a lot of books. Her name is Starhawk.
I don't know.
Yeah, really nice. Talks about the religions of the goddesses, of matriarchal culture. It's super, super nice, her work. And she teaches permaculture in California with another people and another teachers. It's super beautiful. I fell in love with permaculture the first time I read about it. I was like, wow,
me too.
It's amazing.
And this happens just a few days ago. Right, it's 6. I'm gonna allow him.
Right, we'll give it like 5 minutes.
Hey Amber.
Hey
Hello.
Amber.
Hey.
How are
you guys okay?
Yeah, how are
my comfiest today?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So
that's all right. That's fine.
Yeah,
no
I've been repurposing so many clothes now to homework because I can't wear jeans anymore or trousers ever since lockdown. You know, I only wear them to go in the grocery, and they're so uncomfortable. Did you have that? Did you find some clothing that were absolutely uncomfortable now?
I only wear joggers. I've got 2 pairs of joggers and I just rotate them.
Yeah.
And that's all I do.
I think it's interesting. I looked at my wardrobe the other day and so it kind of felt sad because there was like, I haven't been wearing shirts for ages. I just wear like these big baggy like men's t-shirts and things like that. Because when I get back from work, that's all I wear, and pajama bottoms. And I was like, oh, I haven't worn my shirts for like 4 months now. I was like, I need to start wearing them. And it's like, oh, look, there's some dresses. I can't remember when I wore them last. Things like that. It's like, it's become such a different culture now with what we wear. It's so interesting.
I've been thinking a lot. And now I've decided to use a pair of shoes of knickers. Yeah, a pair of knickers for home. So I've been washing them. They're my home shoes. I've been washing them, and now I don't get out with them anymore because wearing slippers, it's so uncomfy after, you know, you can't just wear them. I can only wear them.
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd what's happening at the moment.
And then like when I have to go and take the beans out, is awkward because I've got super nice pajama stuff and then a coat. So I feel a Londoner, because you see these things in London. People going to the shop in the corner in the middle of the night with the slippers, really. A coat, the dressing gown, and the
You
slippers.
see in Leicester.
A lot in Leicester, yeah.
Yeah, I remember where I used to live, there was like so many girls that would just go in their pajamas and like those sliders just to the shop, and I'd be like, this is mad.
Yeah. Wow.
We had I've actually done it a few times where like my pajama bottoms, some of them are just like harem pants. So like in summer you wear them normally anyway. So it's kind of, you get away with it. Wow. And I've got a few pajama bottoms where I like, do you know what? I can get away with it. So I just like walk straight out in my pajamas like you did with a coat, just go to the shop to get something with normal shoes on, normally with like boots on as well. So it doesn't look great, but like I'm comfortable. I'm not like dirtying another pair of trousers or anything.
Hi, Letitia. I don't know if she can hear us. Hello.
Hey.
Oh, hi.
Oh, she hasn't got headphones on.
Okay, perfect. Okay. You can write in the chat box, and we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's fine.
We were talking about the new fashion of wearing just pajamas and comfy clothing at home, and how sometimes we go out with a pajama to, I don't know, take the beans out, such. We can wait maybe a little more.
Wait a little bit more, I think. Because I think there was a few others who wanted to turn up, wasn't there? So I don't want to get into it.
I take the chance to just have a look at the email one more time.
Oh yeah, I've actually organised. I've actually got it up as well for once.
Brilliant.
Yes.
So you check the email, I check Instagram then.
Oh, do you want me? Are you checking it? Okay, well we can on that.
Yeah. Oh, the phone is
Or do you want me to check? I've got the phone here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Now with the phone, everything is so easy.
Have you got it set up on your phone where you got the joint account thing?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Right, yeah. We're on this. We're so organised. Right.
Yeah.
No,
it's brilliant. Now you don't even have to change anything in the phone. I mean, you can.
Great. I know, but I've got to be careful so I don't post anything being Wombenhood instead of me.
Yeah,
not that I post anything inappropriate, but
okay. I think maybe I liked one thing through Wombenhood. Let's see. No emails. It's fine.
Was Charlie turning up? Was that a thing that was happening? Wait a minute.
No, sir.
You posted it on Instagram, so I assumed she would.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no problem. Letitia, it's no problem at all. We're going to keep it short and sweet anyway. So you'll get the main bulk of it all by 7.
Yeah.
And then we've got half an hour room for discussion after that.
We can start even now at this point.
Happy to start now? Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Shall I start the introduction, Adriana? Should we go?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome along to Wombenhood's first proper talk after the launch. This talks about cycles and sort of the processes that happen in nature and are linked with our bodies. It's not exclusive to menstrual beings, so it is open to anyone really, but we will be focusing an awful lot on the menstrual cycle and how that influences us emotionally and how we can benefit from that. So Adriana will be talking an awful lot about the moon cycle, and, you know, the triple goddess, and how that can be encompassed into our understanding of our own personal cycle. And then I'll be relating the cycle to the seasons, and how that can be linked in as well. We have sent you guys a PDF as well. We'll just be expanding on that, just to help you along there. If you want any more references or any more sources, you can message us and we can ping things your way. After we've explained our bit, we'll then be going on to opening it up to you guys in a discussion as well. And then, oh dear, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So after we've explained about those two different interpretations, or I should say 3 different interpretations of cycles and how to get the most out of your personal journey there, we'll be then going on to your own interpretations, your own feedback, and then starting thinking about the workshop next Saturday as well, and how we can turn what we've learned into something physical. What I do want to add is this is quite informal, and we are not academics in this area at all, so feel free to add some knowledge in if you want. We're all learning. Feel free to put your hand up or just put in the chat, I want to speak, and we'll stop and you can give your feedback there and then. It's very fluid. It's not going to be very professional as such. You know, you can talk if you want to. Also, to let you know, we are recording this, as you can see the icon in the top. I think that's the right side. I don't even know if I'm mirrored right. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's a corner. Oh, well, okay. There you go.
For
yeah,
my
nice.
screen.
Oh, mirrored. Yeah, so if you guys have filled out your GDPR forms, then you're great. If you haven't, I need you guys to do that as soon as possible so that we're all clear with everything like that and your permissions before we put this out on the website. That's very key. I think that's it. Any questions before we start nattering on? Cool. Okay, so introducing ourselves. I'm Rhianne. I'm one of the co-creators of Wombenhood. You won't see me as much as you'll see Val. Val's fantastic. It's basically leading the whole thing at the moment because I'm so busy. I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I specialise in a lot of performance work, fluxus work, diagram work, and documentation. Very data heavy. That's my, okay, noted Letitia, thank you. That's sort of my practice. I also run Bad Pancake, which is a creative networking platform as well as other things. But yes, this is the thing I'm focusing on at the moment. And then Adriana, if you want to introduce yourself and then start off, really.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Rhianne, for the introduction as well.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adriana. I have already met some of you, and the others I haven't met yet. Nice to meet you if you're here or not. At some point, you're going to watch the video, I guess. So yes, I'm Adriana, and I'm currently working as a content editor. But in my free time, I also make collages and write poetry and texts. I like to study mythology as well because I think it gives me a lot of creative material as well. And sorry, there's a helicopter here right now. Yeah, now it's going. I'm going. I'm coming. And I met Val. It was in 2018 at an art event in Northampton. And since then we kept in touch. And when I saw that Rhianne and Val they were going to make oh my god, I always have trouble in saying Wombenhood. Yeah. I was like immediately impressed by the potential of the project, and I said, oh wow, I would love to participate if there's something that I can help you with my little knowledge. I would be really happy to do so. And then Val replied me, and Rhianne and Val, they sent me an email saying that they would be happy for me to participate. And yeah, here I am. So I'm really glad to be here, and thank you for the space as well.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, so, thank you. So starting off with the workshop, one of the points that we thought it would be interesting to cover, apart from everything that Rhianne has already introduced, is how can we find wisdom and consequently sacredness, because the name of the workshop is Finding Sacredness in the Body. So wisdom and sacredness, they walk like hand in hand, at least in my mind they do that. So how can we find wisdom and sacredness consequently in both menstrual cycle and in the different life stages we all go through, and how can we restore our connection to nature through this wisdom and sacredness? Or we could even ask, like, how could we restore a healthy connection with our bodies, our emotions, and the life phases, the life stages we all go through by observing the cycles of nature, like seasons and the moon cycle, which is the two cycles that we are going to discuss here. So speaking about the moon cycle, the menstrual cycle and the moon cycle, they are very connected for several different reasons. We are going to point out a few ones here just for us to have material for discussion and for us to think about these things together. And I think the first point that it's really interesting is how menstrual beings, they experience a cycle that lasts around 28 days, which is exactly the time that the moon takes to complete its cycle as well. Of course, like many people, me, for example, I do not have a cycle that it's exactly 28 days. It's a bit longer. And that's fine. Like if we don't have like a menstrual cycle that matches exactly what the moon does, it's okay, of course, because all of us, we have different cyclic processes. We are different human beings and unique. So that's absolutely fine. It's just for a matter of illustration that the average of the cycle is 28 days. And the moon cycle also takes the same amount of days, which is quite beautiful for me to think that we are so connected to nature like that. Also, another like coincidence, let's say like that, it's that the moon has 4 different phases, as we all know, like the new moon, the waxing moon, full moon, the waning moon, and the same happens to the menstrual cycle, which consists of 4 different phases as well: the follicular, ovulatory, luteal, and the menstrual one. And each of these menstrual phases, they can match one of the moon phases, which is quite nice as well. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but there are 2 cycles that are more common. I think for studies, people have realized that the most common cycle in terms of menstruality is called white moon cycle, which means the menstrual beings are bleeding during the new moon. So if they are bleeding during the new moon, it means that the menstrual phase, it matches the new moon, and the follicular phase, it matches the waxing moon, the ovulatory phase, it matches the full moon, and the luteal phase matches the waning moon. This is the most common one. The other common cycle, menstrual cycle, is called red moon cycle. And it means that menstrual beings, they have their period during the full moon instead of the new one. And again, it's fine if you are not synced like this. I'm not synced like that either. My period usually comes during the waning moon, which makes a lot of sense for me, because I think during the waning moon, that's when I feel I'm kind of fading and changing. There's something changing inside myself. And then in the new moon, I feel that there's just a space. There's a kind of emptiness in the good sense of the word, which opens space for new projects and ideas. So for me, it makes sense how my cycle is. And I think, like, for all of us, how our cycle is will make sense, because it's truly connected and deeply connected with our life processes and our inner, with our emotions and inner cycles, actually. yeah, another interesting point is that, as I was just saying, like each of these menstrual cycles, the menstrual phases of the menstrual cycle, they bring a different energy, just like the moon phases does. And this means like the menstrual beings and the people who are connected to their own cyclical energy, regardless of gender, each one of us, we experience different feelings and needs throughout our cycles. So if we think, for example, about the moon and the different energies its phases brings, we realize that the new moon, for example, is connected to the menstrual cycle in the white moon cycle. And it can be considered a time to rest because there isn't moonlight, for example. So the lack of light propitiates that for us, a kind of rest, and it also propitiates an environment for us to connect to ourselves in a deeper way and listen to ourselves. So I consider this so beautiful as well. On the other hand, if we think about the full moon phase, that it's usually connected to ovulation, this is when the energies are at a high level, and both our bodies and the earth, they are more fertile during this time. The earth, it's due to luminosity, the change of the tides, and other natural phenomena. And this is the phase when new ideas might take shape, even in nature and in our bodies as well, within our lives. So yeah, I hope it makes sense, because there are so many interesting things to talk about. And yeah, I hope I could give a nice overview of how the phases and the menstrual cycle, and also the life stages we all go through, are kind of connected. And Rhianne is going to explain a bit further about the seasons now, and it will match completely as well what I have just said, which is really nice.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the triple goddess, just a little bit more, if possible?
Yeah, definitely. We were going to talk about it a bit further, but let me talk about it now. Definitely.
I mean, if you wanted to talk about it later, that's fine. I just
go ahead.
We will discuss. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine to talk about it now. Do you prefer to talk about the seasons, Rhianne, and then I talk, or it's fine for me to talk about the
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. Yeah. So as I was just saying, like the different phases of the moon, they have inspired like a lot of artistic expression as well, and symbologies in the ancient civilizations, because the moon is truly related to fertility, and the moon used to be the guide, the kind of guide for people in the ancient times, with the agriculture process coming in, because the moon is closely connected to tides as well. So it has everything to do with how nature will respond to that. And we have different symbols actually that represent how the human journey is connected to nature cycles. And the triple goddess is just one of those. We have, for example, spirals, trees. All of these symbols, they really represent how we grow, like a tree. It's like a tiny seed, and suddenly it pops up, it sprouts, and then it starts to grow, and it goes through hard phases in life, the winter time, autumn, then the springtime, and it's there, and it's growing, and it's getting stronger. And the same happens to us. So the triple goddess is just one of these symbols that illustrates this connection between the different stages we all go through in life, the moon cycles, and consequently the menstrual cycle. So I would say that the triple goddess, it is a triunity that consists of different aspects united in one being, which really relates to what we are as well, because we are not flat characters, we are round characters, so there are many different aspects going on. And that's how the triple goddess works as well. And one of it's one image, 3 images in one, I think you guys have seen it in the document that we sent. So it's the image of the waxing moon, then the full moon in the middle, and then the waning moon. It's the last one, the last representation. And they are usually described like each of these moons, these different phases of the moon, they are described respectively as the maiden. So the waxing moon can be seen as the maiden in mythology and in how this symbol works. And this aspect of the maiden, it can also represent our young self. So that's why it's the maiden and the young self, something we all go through. Then we have the full moon, the mother. The mother can be extended to the adult or mature self. Again, we all go through that. And the crone, we haven't got there yet, but we do not need to get older to to have this kind of wisdom, in my opinion. And the crone, it represents the elder self. If we extend it for different, for the life stages we all go through, it's the elder self. And let me start with them. Is it making sense, Amber? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I'm just writing loads of notes.
No, carry on. I'm happy that you're doing that. Carry on. It's just
yeah, it makes complete sense.
That's great to know. I'm going to talk a bit about every aspect now of the triple goddess, like the maiden aspect, and how we can use this aspect in our lives, just for it to be even clearer. So yeah, the maiden aspect, as I have said, it can be associated to the young self, to our young self. And it can relate to points like being nurtured and taken care of, like learning the responsibilities of life. When we are young, we are still learning this kind of thing. We don't know yet how to proceed in certain situations. We are being taught how life works and how we should behave, let's say like that. Not in a bad way, like, you have to be like that. No, we are just learning how society works and how we work as well, because we are part of society in the end, but we can always collaborate with the implementation of society instead of making it every time the same. Also, we are learning to go after what we want and to gather the resources that are needed to live life and evolve. And the aspects that are the most prominent ones in relation to the maiden aspect is curiosity, excitement, the high levels of energy, expansion, birth, promise of new beginnings. This is how we feel when we are teenagers, for example. All of these aspects, they are there. We are like, I really want to learn this and I want to travel to that place. And so there's a lot of refreshment, I think. And yeah, so this is the maiden aspect. The mother aspect instead is associated to the full moon, and it can be extended to the adult or mature self. And points like, for example, becoming a nurturer. The responsibilities, they were already learned. And now it's possible for us to walk with our own legs and walk our own path and nurture ourselves and our values as well. So everything that we have learned in the maiden phase, now it gets back to us in the form of action, of practical stuff. And the resources that we sought after and gathered during the maiden phase are now being used with responsibility and self-knowledge, because we have already learned everything that we were taught. And this aspect makes it possible for us to enjoy, for example, the fruits of our labor, to live life on its full potential, because we are more empowered during this phase. We already know ourselves a bit better. And the words that could be related to that are fertility, fulfillment, stability, power. So yeah, I think it's the phase when we really know ourselves, even though we are constantly evolving and learning something new about ourselves. We have already a kind of settled values, and we know what it's truly important for us. So it's easier for us to walk our own path in this sense. And the crone aspect, which is associated to the one in waning moon and can be extended to the elder self, it brings points like finding balance between nurturing oneself, which is the mother aspect, and teaching others how to nurture themselves, which is the maiden archetype. So in the crone aspect, we have both maiden and mother archetypes to get weaved together, because we are already mature enough. We have gone through a lot of things in life for us to get to this stage. Okay, I know how to nurture myself. I was taught how to do that. I know how to do that. I have lived that. And now I can also teach others how to do that. The younger ones who need some advice, who needs some. Also resting and accepting that everything in life, including life itself, has a beginning, a peak, and an end, which tends to be really hard for us. I think for all of us as human beings, like acceptance that things get to an end. We tend to be attached. I think we are not taught how to let go of things. And this archetype, it can teach us about it, like, because acceptance, it will bring even more wisdom. And if we think in terms of the menstrual phase in this aspect, we can even connect it to the menopause phase, because it's when the knowledge lived during the whole life, during several cycles, is now kind of merged with the body. So the person becomes a recipient of wisdom, and even though the menstrual cycle is not experienced anymore. And yeah, so the words that I would link to this aspect is wisdom, repose, death, and endings. And one, I think, really important thing for us to think about, to discuss, just to reflect upon, is that this aspect, it also brings like the responsibility that we found in the mother aspect. It takes shape of a gratitude for our own life story. You know, like we don't feel that we are, I think, victims anymore in this stage. We simply look at our lives and we say, okay, I accept how things went. Everything that I have lived brought me wisdom, made me be who I am today. So there's this feeling of acceptance that many ends, we're going to face many ends in life. We're going to go through a lot of struggles in life, but that's fine, because this is what makes us who we are in the end. And it's quite nice for me to think about that, because I usually associate the acceptance of ends, of the end of life itself, even. It's so hard for all of us, but I think when we are able to accept this aspect of life, we are so wise, because we are not wanting things to be the way we want them to be anymore. We are simply with arms wide open for things, for life to happen, you know. So I think this archetype, it talks a lot about that as well, like accepting that everything comes to an end at some point. Yeah, I don't know, it made sense. Did it make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for explaining that. It was beautiful.
Thank you. Sorry if I have spoken that much. It's just because I get excited.
No, it was great. Has anyone got any other questions so far? Everyone good? Awesome. I take the silence as everything is good. Cool. Shall I start on the seasons thing now? Yeah, cool. All right. So yeah, the seasons is very, very similar, a very similar way of looking at our cycle, the menstrual cycle to the moon. So it's just like another symbol as such. The way I will talk about it is very much what is the best you can get out of your period. So what can you gain out of it? How can you understand it and be at one with it? And I think personally this method of doing it has really turned sort of my perspective of menstruation and the periods around. You know, I've always struggled with really heavy periods. It's been so painful. I've had to miss work, I've had to miss school. It's been nasty. And I suffer from PMS and things like that. And whilst reading in this book, Period Power, I learned so much. And the biggest thing was the seasons and being able to put it into some sort of context so then I can explain it to other people, like my partners and people, just to give you a heads up, I'm at this stage now, or something like that, and linking all these symptoms and all these things that I come across of and how, you know, I can contextualize that. Makes me understand it more, makes me feel less hopeless, or helpless, I should say. Really, I feel hopeless quite a lot, but helpless. So I'm going to start off really, basically the PDF gives a really, well, as much as I can, an in-depth breakdown of everything, sort of like a guide, but I'll just briefly skim over it all. So we'll go with the winter first. The winter, of course, like the seasons, the winter's cold, it's desolate, not particularly a positive time. That's when in the menstrual cycle, the menstrual beings bleed. So that's the time of the cycle where people are more likely to feel tired. Literally no energy. You know, your womb's breaking down. Your hormones are really low as well in this season. So also you might suffer from PMS, so premenstrual syndrome. That will happen in the autumn, but you might get dregs of that happening just as you go into your winter as well. So when you bleed, you might find that you get a sense of relief. I get a massive sense of relief. I'm like, huzzah, for many reasons, you know, I'm not pregnant, fantastic. You know, or like, finally, you know, my hormones, they've all gone out now. I'm not like all the time. The winter, what I see as the winter is the hibernation stage. You allow yourself to rest. You allow yourself to sleep. You sleep more than you would normally, and the rest of the cycle, allow yourself to do that. And I think it's really important. It comes with meditation and mindfulness, you know, give yourself that space. The good thing with this season way of looking at things is you can sort of plan. So in your winter, I always advise not to build it up with loads of social things. It's a time when naturally you might find yourself having an inward focus. You want to be alone. You want to be thinking about your own things. Make sure you batch cook, make sure you have loads of food in the fridge or the freezer from the other parts of your cycle, and just, it's a time for you to relax, however long that may be. And what I want to say is we all have different lengths of these seasons. Some might be a week, so mine a week. Every 7 days I have a different season. For me, I'm quite lucky with that. It's quite balanced. Others might only have like 3 days in their winter and have like 10 days in their summer. Fantastic. That's great. So really, winter's for you to go easy on yourself. Let the bleeding happen. A fantastic time to be with yourself, to review everything you've done, to watch a film, to be with yourself, to tell everyone to go away, have no meetings for this time. Because if you relax in the winter, the rest of your cycle, you're going to have that energy there to do other things. So it's sort of, it's an excuse to be lazy. That's what I do. I'm like, I'm in my winter, go away. Come back to me when I'm in my spring, I can handle you then. So that's what I say anyway. The most important thing, as I said there, is to have your boundaries, and it is to tell people that I'm not up for it today. Come back to me in a week. Set your boundaries with your relationships, with your friendships, with your intimate relationships. This is the time for yourself. This is time for self-care. That's winter. Spring is what I've put here on the PDF, is party time. Spring is once you finish bleeding, you might naturally, I should say, feel quite a big burst of energy. Spring, when buds bloom, when stuff renews itself. My advice is I personally, I feel like a big buzz of energy as soon as I finish bleeding. I'm like, fantastic, now I can just get on with things. I've got this energy, let's keep on going. It's not good to go off straight away with that energy because you can deplete yourself quite quickly. It's good to go, okay, that's really good, I got that energy there. Give it a few more days for you to build up. Spring, actually, biologically, is when you can actually work quite hard physically. This is when you can do your most strenuous exercise. Your libido's rising rapidly. All those hormones are there to do that, to boost you. It's the best. Your mind might be a bit erratic here in spring. You'll be jumping around doing all sorts. Let yourself do that. Don't be difficult on yourself. This is time to try new things, to try new ideas. Don't be precious. Don't focus on something because you might find that you can't do that. I certainly can't. I'm like, right, I want to learn a language. Fantastic, that lasts 2 days. I want to do baking. Fantastic. Okay, we'll try that out. It's your young self, you know. It's the new moon, I suppose, or it's like it's building into something. Be crazy, be that teenage self, be the maiden, for as long as that lasts. Anyway, when you come to the end of your spring, you'll find you're able to focus more. That's when you start going, okay, what ideas and thoughts that I've had in my last cycle, or, you know, coming up in this spring that I've gone, actually, I like that. What do I want to focus on? And then that's what you'll bring into summer. Your skin will be clearer in spring. You will be more attractive physically. Your body and your face, no joke, your face becomes more symmetrical. All you want to do is mate. Well, some of us do anyway. I don't know, it depends how stressful I am with other things. But yeah, you'll find you will eat smaller meals as well. You can run on less, and that's okay. You can do that. Your body is more capable of doing that now, but keep it in spring. Don't bring it into the other cycles. This is your time to go, ah! So book all those things, those new exciting things, seeing friends, trying out new cooking, filling up your calendar. You will be more able to do it in this season. So yes, as I said, towards the end of spring, you'll go into your summer. Now, summer, as we know, is quite long. It can be quite long. It's sunny. In this time in summer, you ovulate. All your hormones are at peak levels here. Your body is ready to breed. You will feel sexy, you will feel confident, but you will be level. This is the best time for you to communicate and make sort of long-term decisions, to do meetings, projects, to share ideas is now. Spring is not a good idea to share ideas because you might drop them. I've done that several times. Yeah, I'll do that. And then a few weeks' time, I'll fall back on it. Summer is probably the best time for you to make decisions like that. You are very productive, but you've got to be more aware of your energy levels here, because you've got to have stable energy for now and then for autumn, which I'll explain about in a minute. You will feel level-headed now, and you will be able to articulate your thoughts and feelings more confidently and clearly to others. So ovulation, as we all know, it's where you have the heightened libido. You'll be at your most fertile. You'll have the most pleasure in this time. Summer's your time to, really enjoy things. And I don't just mean that about sex. I mean eating, listening to music, other recreations. You will experience things more deeply in this time. Utilize that. If there's something you really, really enjoy doing, like you've learned in spring, fantastic. I love eating Japanese food. Try out all these recipes. Summer's when you hone that craft, really sit there and enjoy it. Summer is also towards the end of summer is the time for me personally, and what I find really good is batch cook stuff. Go crazy. If you've got a big freezer, fantastic. This is where you batch cook good food. And you start building up for autumn and winter. Okay, so here we go, autumn. So as we know, winter's when you bleed. Spring's where you're like, ah. Summer's where you get level, you're at your peak. Autumn is when it goes downhill, and it is quite negative. Come on, like, you know what people are going, oh, you're on the blob, oh, you're all laggy. Autumn is a sort of time where you are like that. Now I'm going to give a positive turn on this, or try to anyway. Autumn is what I've labelled as the descent. But actually I've found through this way of approaching things, actually it's really empowering, because here is where self-awareness and self-care is the most vital. Winter's where you can go, yeah, I'll have a break and I've got that excuse, I'm bleeding. Autumn is where you've really got to be attentive to yourself. It's when your inner critic comes out. You're more likely to be anxious with things. You're more likely to doubt yourself. And the really interesting thing here is you are at your most assertive now. So yeah, I'm just about going into my autumn, and I tell you, my work colleagues definitely know it, because I'm very straight to the point. And I do joke, but I don't mince my words. And you will find in the autumn, you are straight to the point. This is the best time to organise your life. You will find you are quite happy cleaning the place and organising your clothes and planning out your next year in this time, because you are hyper-focused and you are very sensible in this time. This is the best time to listen to your gut. People say this is a time when they're the most moody, but I actually think this is the time where your voice comes out more. And it's moody because it's the time where your hormones and stuff aren't clouding your judgments. The estrogen, things like that aren't going, yeah, everything's great. This is when you see things for what they truly are. And you might not be happy in a situation. This is the time that you act upon it. It might sound harsh because you do feel very strongly about things, but this is actually the time to use that focus. Importantly, this is a time to avoid alcohol in autumn. It's not going to do you any favours for winter. It will massively negatively impact your winter. Also, the biggest thing in autumn is to keep your blood sugars level. Eat when you want to eat. Don't eat, you can eat chocolate, but do be mindful of what you eat as well, because those nutrients and stuff are going to help you when you bleed. Don't overload yourself. Like winter, you want to slow things down a bit more. You want to plan your days with enough spaces in between. I can't stress that. The amount of times I used to build up my calendar around my autumn place and I had to cancel everything on my autumn cycle because I'd just get too overwhelmed because things are too much. Work out where your peak energy is during the day in your autumn and just put your stuff there. Don't worry about the rest of the day. Put everything you sort of need to do in that peak energy point, even if it's only an hour. Mine's normally, in my autumn, about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. That's when if I'm not at work, that's when I do the main things of my day. So yeah, the key point actually is listen to your inner bitch at this time and don't be afraid. Honestly, it's so empowering. I used to be so scared of autumn because it'd be a time where all my emotions are heightened, everything's a bit crazy. And actually now I've gone, this is when I finally should listen to myself. And since I've been doing that, it's an incredibly empowering time. And I've had a better life because of it. Of course, don't burn bridges. Think about that kind of thing, be sensible as such with communication. Don't go around just telling people to F off all the time, but do listen to your thoughts. They're there for a reason. And that's it. That's the season. So you can see how that, wait a minute, as Val put, oh, okay, cool. Nice. See you in a minute, Val. Yeah. So that's the seasons, really. It's kind of like a very practical way of looking at things. And what it's done is I'm able to harness that. I turn around to my partners and be like, I'm in spring, and they're like, fantastic, when can you book me in? Or I'll be like, I'm in autumn, and magically everyone disappears. Oh, I'm busy today, I can't see you. Or they'll go, you'll need food, so they come around and cook for me. It's just a really good way of communicating to others who might not fully understand the menstrual cycle, what you're going through. But the other key thing I want to say is, even if you don't have a womb, you know, you're part of the secondary party, you're not a menstrual being. This is actually a pretty good way of running your month, you know, and having these, allowing yourself to have that break for a while in your winter and things like that. It's kind of quite a healthy way of segmenting your lifestyle. So yeah, that's that. How long? Oh, I didn't do too badly, to be honest. We've got 13 minutes left. That's not too bad. So yeah, any questions? No? Oh, fantastic. I don't really have much.
I thought about something while you were explaining. It's nice because you have touched on the practical aspect. And I think until now I have mentioned more the psychological aspect. So it's beautifully, we are helping each other in a nice way. And yeah, this is really nice. Thank you, Rhianne.
That's all right. I think I love how they're both incredibly similar. And that just shows, doesn't it, how actually it is so natural, these cycles, and how quite a lot of us have these cycles, and how we've just used different terminology to approach it. And I think that leads naturally into opening it up to everyone and going, do you all have a way of talking about, communicating about your cycle, or any other ways of defining your cycle? I mean, we've used the moon and the seasons. So has anyone got anything to add, or their own version of it? Or is there anything they've liked that's interesting about what we've said? Or so we're opening it up to people.
Rhianne, I could not stop laughing during that whole thing. I literally was like, especially when you said listen to your inner bitch, I was like, oh my God, that's so on point. And my boyfriend sat on the bed, and when we were talking about autumn, which my autumn was last week, we literally just looked at each other and I was like, see? So yeah, it's so weird. I don't think I've ever thought of it like that. I've recognised it 100%, but when you break it down into those segments, it definitely, I don't know, it's just easier to understand and process, I think.
I think it is, and it's not having I don't feel as helpless to it, or like, oh, what's going to happen next? It's like, well, I can sort of predict that's going to happen, and then it's like, okay, if I can predict that's going to happen, then I can plan for that and be good to myself. Now I can put 4 pizzas in the freezer ready for winter, you know, like. You know,
yeah, it's definitely that mindfulness thing that I think you mentioned, and probably just being mindful like throughout the entire cycle of what stage you're at, and kind of what you need to do in that time that's good for yourself, which is probably something I definitely haven't done, so it'd be good to start.
I think I want to start. I've got a monthly log of all my cycle, when I had PMs or migraines linked to the hormones, the day I was most prone to ovulation. So I think I would like to position these happenings within this cycle. And I wanted to know, where do you think, I'm making like a drawing of
let me get the diagram actually, because that's going to help me as well.
Because I would like to sort of mix together or join the moon cycle with the season cycle. So for example, Adriana, where do you think is the winter in the moon cycle? The winter is the bleeding.
The winter is the bleeding, and it would be connected to the new moon. In the white cycle that I have mentioned, white moon cycle, that is the most common one. Of course, it would depend, but it would, in my opinion, even though I do not have this cycle, I think it makes a lot of sense to connect winter to the new moon, because it's when everything is dark. The new moon, there's no moonlight, and during winter time, it's the same. And it's like we are in a cave, and we are in our period. We really feel we want to be inside the cave, I think. At least I do.
Totally. I
like,
think
quiet and
I think, Letitia, what you said there is really helpful if you have regular cycles. I think what I want to show you is what it says. So this is the book. Oh no, you can't really see
The
it.
background.
This is like my Bible. It's by Maisie Hill. I'm going to try and get her to come onto the project at some point, maybe. Oh my goodness, you're probably not going to see because the stupid background.
I will put the link. I'll put the link in here.
Yeah, because this is the diagram. Wait a minute, let me remove the background. It's only going to take 1 minute. Okay.
Does anyone know what lunar phase we are in right now?
I don't know.
I am
It's
curious.
waning.
Waning.
Oh, wait.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a website we can use to check the moon? I mean, we could look outside, but say, I am never in line with the moon in this house. So
Yeah.
very rare that I can see the moon. There are buildings.
Yeah, so Letitia, this is, so see that these diagrams here, they're actually the split up of the seasons. And you see each person, so there's like tiny, there's a big one here, which I think is summer. Everyone will have different seasons, different segmented bits for seasons. So as I said, you might end up having like a really like 3-day period for your summer or your spring, and then some people have, I don't know, 12 days of winter, and it, you know, it doesn't matter as such as to if it's like a 28-day cycle or a 30-day cycle, or you know, you miss a period. If you're in touch with yourself and those emotions and things, you might be able to identify with where you are in that season. So yeah, I hope that helped.
There is a comment by Dia.
Yeah, I've just seen that. Yeah.
There might be a parallel between a mother to bees. But, yeah.
So where would you think that would be in relation to in the sort of the moon and the seasons?
Sorry, it's a little loud over here.
It's fine. It's fine.
I just was thinking as you were talking about the seasons, and I might have read this somewhere, that I think there's this parallel, and I'm trying to remember my own labors, so I can't really, since it's been a couple years, match it up quite precisely, but there are waves, and of course every mother-to-be's labor is different, but there are waves and cycles of, you know, different sensations and feelings, and I think that they might parallel to like the maiden and spring feeling, and then the you know, because it's very like cyclical and having different not really able to verbalize it precisely, but just different sensations that would be, it's not just a progression of things, you know. So I just feel like there might be that parallel with that experience as well. It's kind of interesting.
I think that's like a really interesting point. Like I didn't consider that, and actually I think that's like a really interesting cycle within itself, sort of like the birthing and how that can adapt sort of the moon phases and what that brings. And as you said, the different sensations and how often would they occur. And if there is like a predictability to it as well, I think is incredibly interesting. Yeah, I'd like to know more about that really.
Well, I think if a mother-to-be really got in touch with their body and the feelings and sensations in the body, and they could get into that, it could probably help and with the expectations, especially since some labors can go on quite long. But you know, there are, I think, different crests and waves of feeling something coming on, and then the surges of labor, and maybe getting to a point of opening and release. And so I feel like there's definitely those connections there.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting what you said about crests and waves, and like that's quite a nice way of looking at it. I mean, thinking like the physicality, the actual visual imagery of crests and waves as well. I think as we're thinking about this towards sort of like the workshop aspect, you know, the visual and the creative one, I think that's a really nice sort of image there, especially with the moon in the background. It could be different moons because of course the moons are relative to the ocean as well. I don't know, now I'm just making connections. But no, I think that's really interesting. That'd be nice to do that as a
and it's actually really connected, no? Like the moon and the ocean and the waters. It's super connected. So I think it makes a lot of sense as well.
Like I was thinking, I don't know, I would like to consider what's the cycle when a person is with child, because we don't menstruate in that stage, right? So there will be a hormonal cycle of some sort. So this is something I haven't researched into or nor experienced, as I don't have children yet. Because I want them. But this is something, yeah, my cousin, she gave birth recently. So this is something, these questions about the mothers to be labor, this is something I could ask her because she will remember, as this happened just a few months ago.
I've got a few friends as well. I think that'd be really interesting as a project, as a part of this as well. That'd be really exciting just to have an insight, a personal insight into that, as well as sort of like a biological one as well.
Yeah.
And I also remember through my own experience, I was lucky to find a place where there were some prenatal yoga classes, but very, in touch with women's cycles and, just helping people get into their bodies. So they really, focused on talking about those things too during the yoga classes. And there was often a discussion that you're leaving maidenhood and you're going into the transformation of motherhood, and your maidenhood is gone. Say goodbye to the maiden is dying. That was kind of the approach to really help women that, understand that was going to be a shedding and a complete, transformation, and doing away with maiden and going into your mother phase of life. And that's also something that you could focus on during the actual birthing labor.
I think that's really interesting.
For me, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like the mother aspect is totally connected to nurturing, and it has everything to do with what you are saying. Like you can either nurture yourself, but you are learning to nurture another life as well. So it's super beautiful what you were saying, and it makes a lot of sense for me. Yeah. A lot of sense.
And then something
like the shedding of the skin and everything. Yeah.
Something that really remained with me with something that people in my family have always said is that after birth, there is this moment of feeling kind of hollow, because of course you've been hosting another life inside of you for so long, and there is a point where you can't take it anymore, you want it out, it's finally time to give birth. But then at that moment of separation, there is this hollowness, and I don't know how much support there is for that specific happening. And then that's the moment, from that moment onwards, I don't know how long it will take for the menstruation to start again, if it is something that happened very quickly or if the body need to adjust. And this is something I'm totally ignorant, and I feel I shouldn't be that ignorant in this, as it is a stage of life that eventually I want to go through.
Yeah,
I could say from my own experience and talking to other mothers that it's totally individual. Then my cycle didn't come back for almost 2 years. So it was absent for quite a long time, plus the 9 months of being pregnant. So it's still regulating. And I think the period right after birth is so vulnerable, so vulnerable, the postpartum period, that I think it's quite often overlooked. And it's really a time that new mothers need to be supported with like the maximum support possible from the community and from their friends and family. And unfortunately, I think bigger groups like governing systems don't set up support, at least not in all parts of the world. So the US is definitely lacking in that area. But the feeling of separation can be quite acute, but at the same time, it's also a very gradual one. I still feel like two people. And I think it's because she still nurses, but I often feel like she's still attached to me physically.
Yeah.
So then it actually feels really strange for us to be separated if I'm working or if she's away when it's for a long period of time. I don't know if all moms feel that way, but it's really, really interesting. Anyway, I don't want to take over the conversation.
No. It's, again, this is a discussion. It's open to this kind of thing, and I think it's really important to discuss that. It's a topic I'm not really that well adapted in, and I'm always open to more information like that, especially if I do have plans to have a child. But it's also knowledge for everybody else as well, like learning about the menstrual cycle. It's about having that pre-knowledge into what the emotional impact could be of having a child, but the changes and the cycles and things like that. I think it's valuable knowledge to have. What I am mindful at the time, I don't know, Adriana, did you want to talk about the creative sides of things? What you thinking?
Yeah, do you think we have a bit more time? It won't take that long.
Yeah. If we do it quickly and then we can talk about the workshop.
Yeah, that's good, because there's another point that we discussed and that we thought it would be interesting as well to bring. It's how the menstrual cycle, it mirrors the creative process that occurs not only in nature, in delivering a baby, in nature itself, but also in the human journey, in the sense that, oh my God, it's raining here, so there are thunders outside. Sorry for the noise. So yeah, we thought that let's think about it this way, like from menstruation until ovulation, there's the egg is ripening, and this can symbolically mean that there's a kind of preparation to give birth. It can be either to a child or to a project, to an idea. All of us, I think all of us, we are constantly giving birth to something, be not necessarily a human being, but to ideas, to feelings, to wants and needs and things like that. So yeah, there's this kind of preparation for something new to be born. And what we would like to touch upon is that, like, the creative aspect, it has like also a kind of dirtiness, not in the negative way, but society might teach us that it's the menstrual cycle is a dirty thing, it's ugly or something like that. And I think we have the tendency, because we are taught like that since we were kids, let's say like that, that we have to avoid this kind of aspects in our life. And with the creative process, for example, in nature, we cannot avoid it, because for a flower, a tree, a vegetable, for everything to be born, someone has to put their hands in the dirt, because otherwise no one will harvest anything. Also, for example, with the menstrual cycle, menstrual beings go through different phases that allow them to face shadows, fears, and other people, other participants as well. Like we are constantly facing these aspects of ourselves, and this can be represented by the dirtiness and ugliness, because we aren't always prepared to do with the shadow aspects of ourselves, let's say like that. But if we do not face them, we will probably not create something meaningful, because these aspects, they are also part of us, and they will make us feel whole once we accept them. So it's just food for thought here, actually, just for us to plant this seed. And also another example is the artistic expression itself. For example, for us to paint something, for us to create a collage, for us to make a sculpture, we get dirty. But without going through this process, like there's no artwork. So it's just something that we thought it would be interesting as well to touch upon. Heavy rain.
I haven't had thunder like that in ages.
Well, I have it here every single day because it's so hot that it has been raining every day. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, just for us to think about these aspects as well, like in terms of vulnerability, sadness, anger, grief. These are all human aspects, and sometimes we might reject them, thinking they are ugly, that they should be hidden, that they are making us feel depressed, when sometimes they are just asking us to open space for them to release it, from ourselves. And it's important, I think, to touch in these not so beautiful feelings for us to feel whole and to create something meaningful and honest and genuine.
And I think,
and it touches upon the menstrual cycle as well. Yeah,
I think that ties in with what I was saying about autumn. It's that part of your cycle can be, as I said, it's like, oh God, like people always, exactly. That's where the stigma comes from. It's like, oh, and then actually that's the time when you are most powerful. Listen to that is you coming out, be whole, embrace that anger and that dirtiness, and and the same with the winter. Express the fact that you need time to yourself, and you need to bleed, and you need to be alone, or you do need comfort, you need someone to hug, and it's sort of just expressing all of that and being whole. I think that's really important.
And it makes me think about the process of giving birth as well, as we were discussing. I'm not a mom, but it must be extremely transformational, because I have the impression that you feel your body taking over yourself. You don't have that control. You cannot control, and you have to let go, because otherwise it will be harder, I think, for the mom to deliver the baby. So it makes me think about that as well, how giving birth is an artistic expression as well, that you, yeah.
Definitely. I am mindful of the time. So did we want to start talking about next week's workshop and the creative?
Yes, let's do that.
Oh, creative. So, as we know, sort of like the main sort of approach is the fact that we both more Adriana and me, I may say, dip our toes in the collage aspect of art, and we really wanted to think about a way of visually of the participants and ourselves visually creating a response to cycles and their symbols, what we've learned in this talk, what is personal to us in the cycles, how to create that visually, but also how that can impact our Knicker project, things like that. It's really another sort of visual source there. So the workshop next week would be more to do with, what do you think? I suppose sort of like either showcasing the work that we've done over the week, or should we build things together? What are you thinking?
I think we can leave it kind of both, so that most certainly, maybe for more so for us that we were present today, some ideas might have merged already. But then if people are just watching the video back, maybe they might be watching this even after the session itself. So I would say if we keep open both opportunities, we can play a little bit more organically maybe on the day.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, sounds good. So like, I don't know, Adriana, what ideas do you have in terms of response, or what people could do?
I think we can either work with several images, like from magazines, what else? Newspapers, even words. We can cut words to I don't know, make an assemblage there, a collage with a poem. We can either work with natural resources like dried leaves, little branches that we find in the floor when we are walking, and a thread for this kind of assemblage would be good as well. What else? I think stones would work as well. Shell, how do you say that in English? Shell? No, shell. Yeah, shell. Shells as well. I think it's a broad range. There's a broad range of material. Like I think we will feel touched by something. Each of us will feel touched by something different. So I think everyone could feel free, to choose the material they think you would talk best to them.
Yeah, so I think like to sort of encompass that really is to respond in a way that you feel strongly to, in whatever medium you feel strongly to. Of course, there's a sway with us for collage, and to have that sort of ready-made feel for it, to build something up. It could be sculptural, it could be 2D, could be performance-based. And really sort of the workshop next week will be exploring those, maybe building something. We'll just see how it goes, really. I think the really good thing about sort of this project is for things to happen naturally, and to flow, and for that to be the piece itself. I welcome people to bring finished pieces and we can talk about them, people that want to make something there and then, people who still don't know but want to chat about it and to form ideas there. Pretty much whatever, really. Or people who just want to come along just to see what other people are doing. It is really open, but we will be focusing on a very visual and creative aspect next week, whereas this is sort of the information part of it. Next week will be more doing and making and being creative. So yeah, Val, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, something that we could do over this week is to collect those items that we think are going to resonate with this theme. They could be physical objects or digital images, or, as we were saying, even branches, or who knows, even piece of clothing if we think are pertinent. And then I would personally make a pile in a corner of the house with these objects, and then probably my tendency might be to take photos, to do these visual compositions as a object placed one on top of another or next to another, maybe more than doing collages, or maybe a little bit of both. So I would encourage everyone to start taking those objects that we feel are going to do something. And I don't think we need to pressure anyone to have a fixed idea. We don't have by any means, I think, complete whatever collage we're going to make doing on the day or assemblage. That's a way to prompt a little bit of creativity and hand-on stuff in a moment where we pretty much live in front of Zoom throughout our daily life. So it's a chance to touch materials and be in contact with the theme.
Yeah, something physical and work on something together. I think it's really exciting to build something, work on something whilst chatting to everybody else and other people working on things as well. And rather than us all sitting there staring at each other, sort of like, oh, hi. You know, we'll be making our own things as well and discussing things. I think that'd be really exciting. So yeah, I think that's it. Anyone got any other questions? I'll wait for Dia to come back in case.
We've done a workshop for those who didn't attend on the first session we did all together, and in that setting, although we didn't at the end up doing the practicality of it, we end up discussing. That's another opportunity, something that could merge. But in terms of how can we do a physical workshop, it's just you know, if people need to work on the floor, we can just leave the computer rolling, and we can be either in the background or not even there, and just let the discussion happen as if we were in an actual room together, and everyone was working in whichever surface they feel more comfortable working. So we really want to create these chilled environments where we can be together in a kind of normal way, as if we were all together, really.
Adriana, do you have anything to add at all before we close up?
No, for me, it's all good. It sounds all good. I agree with you that it would be nice to leave it more open for each one of us to come up with something that really resonates. It will be great. I'm excited as well. Looking forward to when we are coming to.
And also this is up to everyone or anyone who listens to this after this event. If you come across things and you think, oh, that's really important, or I find that interesting, and you have Instagram, tag us. This is me being soulless. Tag us on Instagram. And go, oh, this is really interesting. I found this and this is linked to this. Or, you know, if you don't have Instagram, email us or something like that, and we can showcase it for you. You know, any of your responses, it'd be great to see and hear, because of course this is all part of that sort of documentation process that we want to do as well, so we can gather what you're doing, and having a good look at the processes and the practice. Has anyone got any other questions at all?
Just one from me. Mainly for Adriana about the moon related things. If you've got any like extra like reading materials or anything that you found kind of online, it's definitely like something I've been interested in for God knows how long, I can't even remember. So if you could pass those on, that would be really great. And then I'm definitely going to take a look at that book that you mentioned, Rhianne. So yeah, if you've got anything else to add, Adriana, that would be really great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll definitely send a list to Val and Rhianne, and then I think they are going to upload it in the website. So yeah, definitely. I'm super glad that you felt touched by what we were discussing. Thank you for that. It's so nice just to share what we enjoy. I don't know, in life, you know, and then it resonates with other people, and that's so good. For me, I think this is the thing that is the thing in life that is most precious. So I'm glad as well. Thank you for that, Amber. Definitely, I will send a link.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your knowledge and your experience as well. It's been really nice to learn more about a different approach to the cycle as well. And a similarity.
Thank you for the space as well. And sorry for if my English was a bit broken, because I was like feeling sometimes a bit nervous. So
Not at all.
Dia is asking something quite important. If there are any prompts for the workshop, we are going to make another PDF with some more detail about what to expect from the workshop and what to bring along. And so yeah, we will be making something.
It'll probably be sent out by Wednesday next week at the latest, I'd probably say. Yeah,
but I think we can, for just right now, we can say that, is this something to do more with what to bring in the workshop that you want to know?
Sorry, I just had to step away a few times. I I wasn't quite sure, or, what we're responding to exactly to look for when we're looking for gathering materials.
Anything that has significance to you in terms of a response to your cycle, in any form of that cycle, be it menstrual, be it your, the birth, anything that has resonance, anything that you can respond to creatively as well. So it's pretty open. It's a very personal kind of journey there. So yeah, I hope that helps.
I think we can consider even something really related to the seasons and the moon phases. That could be a nice something to place the intent upon. This is at least what I think I'm going to be doing. So for me, there is this cyclicality and circle, as it seems that the circle is going to be the shape for me to engage with. Yeah, so something for me to do with the cyclicality of things.
All right. Okay. I think that's it. Hope it went well. If you want to leave us feedback, give us an email. That'd be nice. We can put some comments up then. And as always, any questions, just give either Val a message or message us directly on Instagram or the email. I will respond to you when we can. And yeah, look forward to seeing you. Val's got you've got your open Monday event. In fact, I think I can attend it next week.
Absolutely. So I just give you a little intro on that. Every Monday we tend to be live to either discuss what is Wombenhood for those who have never attended any of our sessions. That's a chance to talk about menstruality and the topics linked to menstrual cycles, a moment of connection between audiences and Wombenhood, so that people can start to know us a little more, to start understanding the aims of Wombenhood and our artistic doing, and also just a moment for those that know already each other to be together. I've been making things while on these sessions, even if people weren't present there in the moment. So it could be a moment of making together, of working on the knickers together. It can be sometimes we are trying to create some topic specific sessions, so that we are going to invite someone to talk specifically about the topic. And then sometimes it will be completely open-ended depending upon who is going to join us casually on the day.
Yeah, I think the other thing to add is that it is open to the public, the general public. So you won't just have participants, whereas these ones are exclusive to the Knicker Project.
Thank you, Dia. Nice to see you. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, whereas they are open to the public. So if anyone's interested that you know of who wants to get involved, who can't get involved in the DIY Knicker Project, they can follow a link on our website and sign up for the open Monday event, and then we'll send them a link for that one so they can attend that. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
All good. All good. All right.
Thank you both so much.
Thanks, Amber.
I really enjoyed it. Good job, guys.
We are so happy, really. I feel so fulfilled.
Oh,
good.
I think it went well. It was nice. Thanks, Adriana. We'll be good at this.
Really
We've got a good dynamic going on. It's
Yeah.
fine.
For sure. Thank you all so much. I'm definitely going to take a little read of all the things that you've sent out. So please keep sending them because I really enjoy it.
I forgot to mention, we will post every link that we discussed about, things that we've discussed about on the website besides the published video, so that every link will be there.
Cool. That sounds good.
Brilliant.
Right. I'll see you guys later then.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.